Good morning.
Good morning, Divia.
You ready?
Good morning, Hong Kong.
Nicolas had a busy few days in China, now back in Hong Kong, so you have plenty of intel for us, I'm hoping, this morning.
Well, thanks a lot for the invite this morning. I mean, Galeries Lafayette is the very last international department store in mainland China. And we are very thrilled, to be invited today to share a little bit of insights. After the party last night with Vogue, I'm going to be still working a little bit. So much energy here in Hong Kong.
Yes, Hong Kong is amazing. But today I want to talk to you about China. Galeries Lafayette has quite a unique position in the market in that you cover a range of categories from aspirational to the luxury segment. What are your thoughts about the retail market in China in general? Because we've been hearing a lot of negative news, and I'm curious what's really happening on the ground there.
Well, we are in a situation where we are rebuilding and awakening a sleeping beauty, Galeries Lafayette in China. After, 30 years, starting in Chengdu back in 1994. We've enhanced our presence back in 2013 in Beijing, then Shanghai, then Shenzhen, more recently in Macau and Chongqing. And we had to rethink our strategy and our development strategy. So what do we see and how do we build our strategy versus all those news we're hearing now? We do see, number one, a normalization of the situation in China, not a crisis. A normalization, coming through a typical crisis, we would say, roughly speaking, 5 years, a little bit like what we've seen in Japan, 97 to 2003, or in the US between 2008 and 2012. Each time, we went through cycles where after 10, 15 years of shopping bonanza, of acceleration, real estate groups, large group, taking stake on very specific projects, we see an adjustment. And during this adjustment, we've got a kind of a scissor effect between more retail square meter coming in and probably a drop in confidence, and at the same time, the need to reinvent ourselves. So again, we do not see a crisis here. We see normalization. The second thing is we do have faith in China, tremendous faith. And we start to see some hints, positive hints. The first one, Double 11. Double 11 this month. We've seen a plus 30% on cosmetics and beauty segments. So we're here to speak about fashion, but that's already a first hint. Plus 30%. However, yes, we've seen a very high, cancellation rates. We see that the money is here, the spending is ready, but less yet the lack of confidence is still stopping a little bit this conversion. The second one, in this phase toward China is about the government. With Galeries Lafayette, we've been working extensively with Beijing government, with Shanghai government, with Shenzhen government on different actions. Similar as what we are doing here in Hong Kong. Beijing, for instance, in August, we have organized one of the largest outdoor défilés in Xidan district, together with the mayor. We've gathered 1,000 people to celebrate the 130th anniversary of Galeries Lafayette. It was also our 10th anniversary in Xidan. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So 60 brands, 30 models, to celebrate 130 years of through fashion for a period of time, from the Parisian chic going to the modern age. So another one was in Shanghai, together with the Shanghai government. We celebrated the French Music Festival, 5,000 people, gathered all together to celebrate a kind of a clock and flap in Shanghai. Yes, maybe with a different vibe, a little bit of a French touch. And I can't wait, by the way, to discover the lineup of tonight.
More specifically on spending, we've been hearing that the younger generation who are really driving sales in China have started to slow down on their spending. What are the consumer segments that you think that people should watch out for? What are the potential bright spots? Where can they see growth in terms of the consumer segments?
So in order to identify those growth areas, we need first to understand how the market has been evolving. And we do see two aspects here. One is about value for money. We have heard a lot of the narrative around price elasticity, too expensive for the functionalities. And yes, indeed, I mean, when we see some advanced designer brands stretching a little bit too much the price, we can see indeed a drop in conversion with the clients. At the same time, sportswear, athleisure, we can see also designers from China actually rising at the right price point with a lot of creativity. I mean, taking the lead with much better sell-through. So that's really about this price sensitivity. And at Galeries Lafayette, what we do today, we collaborate with DLG Rehab, for instance, in order to understand what is the resale value of the products on the secondary markets. We look at the price, we look also at the discount. The other one is about emotion. Probably we went through 10 years, 15 years of shopping therapy. Now it feels a little bit like we are going through a comfort therapy. Today when I came in this room, I saw so many beautiful leather bags, but with a little tiny jelly cat on it. Leather with happiness. So we've decided with Lafayette to open a new concept, comfort shopping, putting teddy tails together with Fugler, with Jellycat. I have to say luxury and premium brands have been a little bit surprised at the beginning to see new neighbors. It's not very usual on such a cluster, it's not usual. However, when they realized that the clients are the same, and actually it drove traffic back into the department store, they really realized that we had to change a little bit the paradigm. So, going now to your question on what segments do we see in China rising, well, we see probably 4 segments here. Let's make sure I don't forget one. The first one, thank you. First one, designers from China. We've seen amazing sell-throughs. I mean, whether it's a Rohan, whether it's Louis, Margong, and the likes. I mean, amazing work on creativity. Feng has been doing wonderful collaborations. I mean, I can't wait to see our discussion, our panel next year with our clients. So designers for China. And we are now working with them and also together with Labelhood in order to see how we can further bring them to Europe and to Paris. The second one, you're right. Second one is online to offline. We've been seeing this trend in Europe, I mean, in the 2010s. It's coming to China. Kuno Gigi, Songmount, Grotto, Humble. I mean, all of them got a very specific curation, a very sharp positioning. It speaks to our clients with a lower price point, probably 2,000 to 5,000 kwai, sometimes a little bit more gifting, with a very wide range of products. So it's not about stretching the price down and cutting on quality. It's just about touching the hearts, touching the emotion with the right value, going back to the initial point. The third point, you're right, is about...
I'm making sure we get everything we need.
You're always here for me, Divia. Thank you. It's about collaboration with the large Chinese groups. I still remember in the 2000s in Dongguan, I mean, looking at the rise of the factories going to branding. Then 2010s, looking at the very first groups from China, like a Fung Capital, Trinity, going to Hong Kong Stock Exchange back in 2008. So we see now within 2020s, I mean, the rise of the large Chinese group, not only thinking about Anta, Bossideng, Li-Ning, but really kudos to Erdos, Stepwolf, I mean, and so many others, such as Jianan Bouyi, for instance, coming up with a block, coming with concepts and speaking to the Chinese client hearts. So we are now building a strategic partnership with them. I'm thinking especially about Elasse Group, for instance, from Shenzhen, where we have all the 7 brands today within Galeries Lafayette in China. So it's about a global reach, but also with a local touch. The fourth one, before I forget about it, is about designers from Europe and designers from all other markets. This is our DNA at Galeries Lafayette, and this is probably the most important one we will continue to foster here. So we will continue to hunt, whether we go with a Wong Yomi or Solid Arm in Korea, whether we continue to collaborate with Le Maire in Paris, and whether we're gonna hunt for new designers in the next Paris Fashion Week.
So the retail landscape in China has evolved. We've seen a lot more DTC brands, independent retailers coming to the fore, like Labelhood with Tasha. How are multi-brand retailers like Galeries Lafayette actually Western retailers, retaining their competitive edge. And I'm curious, is it still important to have that brand recognition of that, it's always been West is best for many years in this part of the world. How is that sort of playing out now as a lot of local players are becoming stronger?
Very strong. I mean, when we started in Xidan, Beijing back in 2013, we didn't have so much competition. And the SKP Select, a Block, a Labelhood, Look Now, and so many others, I mean, we're not here yet. But you know what? Probably the more the merrier, the more awareness, the more competition, and the more actually creativity we're gonna get in the market. So instead of fighting against it, it's more about going with the flow and collaborating together. So going back to differentiation now, how Galeries Lafayette, the only international department store in China, can differentiate itself. We launched what we call the boundless retail in China. Boundless meaning we do redefine how we distribute on the floor plan. It's not anymore about casual stacking and usual stacking with having luxury, women, men's, gifting, food, and eventually a little bit of experience on the basement. No, it's about bringing convenience together with curiosity. I'm sure many of you here got a sweet memory of a trip to Galeries Lafayette in Paris. When we go to Paris, you always seek for something you don't know yet. And we would like to bring this humble curiosity towards China. So boundless experience. Going indeed to this boundless experience, we would like to curate more and more talk between designers and clients. We're probably the only place where brands, wholesale brands, but not only concession brands, can really meet with the clients. It's a very unique opportunity. It's something that a shopping mall cannot offer today to the brands. So, boundless experience. The third one is about boundless travel. So far, Galeries Lafayette has been engaging clients from China more through tour operator, more through actually mass markets. You probably know that the second most visited location in Europe is Galeries Lafayette. Would you know which one is the number one? Anyone?
Anybody? Harrods?
Harrods? Well, actually, it's Eiffel Tower. We are not only about retail, we are about cultural discovery, yes.
Culture is important.
Yes, it's about culture. So, I mean, going to boundless experience and boundless travel, we are now working on how to break the borders and how to engage clients before, during, and after to make sure that consumption stays in China, travel to Europe in a quite controlled manner for the brands, for the sake of the control of the brand equity, and then come back to China.
You mentioned omni-channel a little bit earlier, but I'm very curious about online shopping. There's a lot of talk now about how online shopping is going to be dominated by price, not convenience. How are you sort of integrating that philosophy in your online strategy?
Well, whether it's price or convenience, for sure it's about experience and it's about trust. So when we thought about our roadmap to China and how to redefine, the relationship with the clients, we really thought about how we can acquire and keep the relationship with our clients in a trusted manner. So this trust had to go back to redefining the relationship and the whole strategy about client reach. That has been a one-year journey. We've been working on the very traditional ways. WeChat of sales associates, which is, by the way, very dangerous. Because whenever your sales associate leave, well, you lose basically everything. You lose a reach with the clients. We've been working with SMS, but SMS, who reads SMS anymore today? So we've been working still with emails, but who use emails in China today? Even legal contracts are going through WeChat. So we had to rethink the way we were going. So we made some essential choices. Number one, we decided from an organization standpoint to put together platform management together with CRM, together with e-commerce within only one organization. And with the leader being a very strong share of voice at the board level, number one. Number two, we decided that we could not be good at everything. We had to be modest, to be humble. And we decided to work with an important TP, with a third-party vendor, helping us in order to have the right reach and the right OMS, order management system, number 2. Number 3, we had to look at the platform. Tmall, Douyin, maybe not. Galeries Lafayette is also a platform, a brand platform. So to be a platform in a platform, I mean, you lose visibility. We decided to double up on a WeChat mini program on private traffic, but also to collaborate with Red, with Xiaohongshu, in order to have a wide reach from brand building, but also for client acquisition. Now, we still have a lot to do. We still have to align really the reach we have on brick and mortar and omnichannel, but we are, I believe, on the right track.
On that note, would you like to maybe show the video?
I would love indeed to share a little bit with you what happened over the past 6 months. So the first part of the DNA is about brand hunting. We've been opening 130 new brands in China. Teddy Tails, Didi Papa, strategic partnership with Nobis, LSA Self-Portrait. We're still bringing brands from Europe. Le Maire. We revamped the mini program. Xiaohongshu partnership. OMS. I mean, backbone is absolutely essential. 360 marketing. We are French. This show I told you about, I mean, absolutely stunning, celebrating 130 years of creativity. 130 years, starting from a very tiny shop in Paris, 140 square meters. We are not commercial, we are merchants. We foster curiosity. We did partner with 5 designers from China to craft very unique partnership. We took back the share of voice in China. The store journey has been redefined. Again, we are Parisian. Boulevard Haussmann. Haussmann, this is where the whole history has started. We brought it to Shanghai. Working with the codes, working with our DNA. WeCom is a WeChat for business. And this is an area we can control, where we can bring a little bit of AI, where we can listen to the client, retain the client with trust. And this is really about this curiosity and this trust that we would like to bring to move forward.
I'd like to talk to you a little bit about your expansion into the Greater Bay Area, which is a big strategic shift for you. What's the rationale behind the expansion?
Well, I spent 14 years in Hong Kong, from Hong Kong with love. And what I still do remember back in 2019, when the Greater Bay Area has been announced at the business community here by the central bureau, the central government. I mean, we immediately thought that when we can gather and put together 12% of the GDP of China, together around 5% of the population, we have to speak with the clients. I realized yesterday that it takes only 1 hour sharp from Galeries Lafayette Shenzhen to central Hong Kong. So we had to speak to the Greater Bay Area clients. Now, in terms of positioning, we had to shift a little bit the way we curate the brands. I mean, we try to curate brands from China, brands from Europe, brands from Korea, Japan. We try to go a little bit more toward gifting. We play with niche cosmetics. Again, a department store is not only about fashion. And today we are thinking how we can bring new concepts. So we are in discussion with Hong Kong landlords, with landlords also from Shenzhen, on how we could bring a new concept, Galeries Lafayette Gourmet. Maybe some of you went to Paris, tried the 6,000 square meter we have with around 20 players in F&B, in bistro, in European gastronomy. So let's see what the future holds. But I believe that within the Greater Bay Area, we shall be able to bring new concepts.
In terms of the curation in your merchandise mix, is it consistent across all your stores, or is now kind of customizing and localizing it more and more important? I'm curious about your Shenzhen store, because I think he revealed to me that it's 60% of your customers are from Hong Kong? So it'd be interesting to know the differences between maybe your outlets in Beijing and Shanghai versus Shenzhen.
Yeah, very true. Well, 60% of the weekends.
Yeah. We only go on weekends. We're too busy during the week.
Yes, Hong Kong is busy, Hong Kong is traveling, and Hong Kong full of energy. So, yes, we have had to adjust the brand mix. The Beijing, I mean, we do manage 50,000 square meter. I mean, it's a second largest Galeries Lafayette worldwide. And as such, we have to create different environments from luxury to premium, from niche cosmetics to, I mean, advanced designer. We are now working also with sports brands. We have a gym inside. You can play yoga. So next time you go to Beijing, really let me know. I mean, you can have a full journey with Galeries Lafayette over there. So when it comes to Shanghai, we are working on the repositioning of the assets, much more adapted to the Lujazui environment. There's more news coming very shortly within the next 2 months. When it comes to Shenzhen, indeed, we were looking more at the gifting, at pop-up, at sports. So we are looking now at how we could curate a better athleisure brand mix and adjusting a little bit, I mean, what we have been doing on, premium and luxury, more with the sweetest price points around 2,000, 3,000 kwai. Now, we launched Shushutong, it was a year ago. We have probably the best sell-through in Shenzhen with Shushutong.
Are your shoppers in each store, are they older, are they younger? I'm curious who's shopping now, because we talk about how the young are not spending anymore. What about the older segments of the market, and what are they looking for? Because we always forget the oldies, don't we? I'm an oldie myself these days.
Well, Forever 28, isn't it? Yes. So we tend not to segment our client by age or by generation. I mean, Gen Z, Millennial, Gen Alpha, etc. We prefer to think about our clients as tribes. Tribes, we have to think, to speak to each other tribe, whether, they're looking towards, for a sports lifestyle, whether they are bikers. Thinking about Zhongmen, for instance, next time you go to Shanghai, look at what's happening over there. It's a rejuvenation of a central district with a lot of history, meeting commercial, meeting arts. It's probably one of the most beautiful projects coming on the market. It's still toward its first phase and going to move toward the second phase by 2027. When we think about curation of history, commercial, and arts, we can see that different tribes are emerging with lifestyle, whether they come with a pet and looking with pet and coffee, whether they're looking for a gym together with fashion, whether they are looking, more for evening dress and a select shop. So I'm really looking forward how we're going to speak to the tribes together with landlords, redefining Shanghai today, Hangzhou tomorrow, Chengdu already for quite some time, but for us, importantly, Beijing. Beijing, Xidan, for Galeries Lafayette, is just in between 2 kilometers of history and 1 kilometer of commercial. We're going to have the subway coming very shortly to our assets, and we're going to look at how we're going to involve and how we're going to work together with the government and the brands in order to engage the different tribes over there.
I also have to ask, since we have lots of talented designers in the room from Hong Kong, and we've seen the amazing exhibition, where do Hong Kong designers fit in the mix? Do they fit into the mix for you guys?
They do absolutely big time. The last months, we've organized a designer cocktail evening. And some of you guys, joined the party. Tasha, you were here and you brought around 50 designers, 120 of them all together. And how do they fit? They fit actually through our plan to bring designers within our brand mix to around 30% of advanced and contemporary designers. And we do see today the best sell-through with designers from China. We are still fine-tuning the model. We do not always purchase. We believe we can work also on consignments. We're still working with some designers on talk. I think we need to look a little bit further on craftsmanship. For instance, Feng, on Feng One, has been working with a bamboo for quite some time. She's working on a full maison, a full lifestyle approach of the house. I'm very curious to see how we're going to be able to work together next year, March, April, to engage clients together. So how do they fit? They fit on a clear path, moving from wholesale to consignment to shop-in-shop. And we've got already many examples of this success.
Well, we have a few questions. We're running short on time. What's one surprising trend you're seeing in Chinese retail right now?
Surprising trends. Well, the first one, the babies. Last year, we had only 9 million babies in China. Well, Hong Kong population, 7 million. The 9 million babies in China, but it compares to 18 million babies in 2015. So you may think that, wow, the toddler business is dead. Well, probably the mass market going to be very challenging, but that's an amazing opportunity when it comes to speaking about premiumization. So I'm really looking forward on how we can work further on premium brands coming from China, coming from Hong Kong, to engage this population, this newborn population. Okay. The second one could be about the pets. Why the pets after the babies? Well, I used to live in Japan, and I really believe into cycles when it comes to population. I mean, the Japanese population came to a tip point back in 2004, and this is when, and China, but that was back 2 years ago. So, and after that tip, we could see the pet business coming up, the premiumization. So it's not really only about fashion, but it's about a whole universe.
Next question. Can you elaborate on any specific sustainability initiatives Galeries Lafayette is implementing in China and how these are resonating with the Chinese consumer?
Well, sustainability, I do invite you to come Sunday. I'm not too sure, Victor, if I can invite guests from Hong Kong Sunday because it's still clock and flap. But Sunday, we do organize with Dominique Simard, who's an amazing expert in sustainability, a client event at Galeries Lafayette Beijing. And we're going to use the fresco, the environment fresco developed actually by the United Nations, in order to sensibilize our clients on how, it works sustainability and recycling. So we're going to go from the products to the textile, to the reuse of the textile. So that's really one angle. The other angle is about engaging with brands having a sustainable touch or a recycled touch. Second-hands is growing in China. And as much as probably 21, 22, it was less obvious. It was more around platforms. I take the example of Juror, ZZER. We do see those seconds, pre-loved platform going offline. So we start to work with those platforms. Yes, it's commercial. Yes, it's business, but there is a sustainable aspect of it. So we are now thinking on how we can craft a little bit of space for those online platforms going offline.
One more question. Given the current economic climate, how are luxury brands balancing the need for exclusivity with the desire to reach a broader consumer base in China?
Yes. Well, exclusivity. It comes probably from, I think all of us in China, we do see and we would like to convey to the West, protect your brand equity and control your parallel market. It's extremely tempting for a brand to push wholesale from Europe, flooding the Chinese market through parallel. That's what we call the Daigou. The impact it has, tremendous negative impact on brand equity. As Galeries Lafayette, we do monitor the second-hand market, but we do monitor also the Daigou market. I mentioned about Rehab DLG earlier. We do look at discount. We do look at also volume made by those brands over there. So we do invite the brands to control this wholesale market. The second one is about experience, especially with emerging brands and brands working wholesale. We do need specific module to engage clients one-to-one or one-to-tribe, one-to-community. It's something a little bit new for some of the brands. Usually we speak wholesaler to wholesaler. Now we try to speak wholesaler to marketing community, to CRM community, in order to find an angle through craftsmanship, history, designer. So I can't wait to invite all of you here, designers, brands from Hong Kong, from China, from Europe, in order to tell your story to the designer, to the clients of Galeries Lafayette.
On that note, perfect timing. Thank you, Nicolas. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Divia, and thanks a lot, Victor. Thank you.